Japan is committed to building the world's fastest trains. There are a number of reasons why other nations have given up on building fast trains, not the least of which is that there are millions of miles of conventional train tracks which won't allow for faster speeds. But Japan's unique geography makes the plan to make the fastest train not only feasible, but necessary. Previous speed records. The world record for a conventional, wheeled passenger train is held by France's TGV, set in 2007, when it reached 574.8 kilometers per hour, or 357.2 miles per hour, on a 140-kilometer section of track. However, Japan's experimental maglev train L0 series achieved 603 kilometers per hour, or 375 miles per hour, on a 42.8-kilometer magnetic levitation track back in 2015. The record for the fastest magnetic train in the world currently belongs to the Shanghai maglev train from China, clocking in at 267 miles per hour. However, the Japanese magnetic levitation train has broken its own world speed record, hitting 603 kilometers per hour, 374 miles per hour, in a test run near Mount Fuji. Maglev trains use electrically charged magnets to lift and move carriages above the rail tracks. However, passengers will not get to experience the maglev's record-breaking speeds because the company said its trains will operate at a maximum of 505 kilometers per hour. In comparison, the fastest operating speed of a Japanese Shinkansen or bullet train is 320 kilometers per hour. How it works. About 200 train enthusiasts gathered along the route to witness the first test run of the SCMaglev L0 series Shinkansen. The faster the train runs, the more stable it becomes. I think the quality of the train ride has improved, said JR Central's head of research, Yasukazu Endo. Maglev, which stands for magnetic levitation, is a system of train transportation that uses two sets of magnets, one set to repel and push the train up off the track, and another set to move the elevated train ahead, taking advantage of the lack of friction. Japan's demonstration line is in Yamanashi Prefecture, where the test train reached that 603 km/h speed, faster than any wheeled train. The demonstration line will become part of the Chuo Shinkansen, linking Tokyo and Nagoya, which is currently under construction. Costs for construction are estimated at nearly $100 billion just for that stretch to Nagoya, with more than 80% of the route expected to go through costly mountain tunnels. These trains use superconducting magnets, which allow for a larger gap and repulsive attractive type electrodynamic suspension. On 15 November of 2014, the Central Japan Railway Company ran 8 days of testing for the experimental maglev Shinkansen train on its test track in Yamanashi Prefecture. 100 passengers covered a 42.8-kilometer route between the cities of Uenohara and Fuefuki, reaching speeds of up to 500 kilometers per hour. The end cars of the L0 series train sets are 28 meters long and carry 24 passengers. The nose extends 15 meters for better aerodynamics and reduced noise in tunnels. Intermediate cars are 24.3 meters long and carry 68 passengers each. Each row is 4 seats wide, one less than JR Central Shinkansen trains. The cars are more box-shaped than earlier models, which allows for more interior space. The train doesn't require a driver, but it does have a camera at the front of both ends of cars in order to allow for remote operation in case the automated systems fail. The camera is more apparent on the revised end cars introduced from 2020. It's moved to a higher position and increased in size. The superconducting magnets in the bogies are built by Toshiba and Mitsubishi Electric. The cars are built by Nippon Sharyo and Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, also having built some in the past. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries stopped producing cars in 2017 after car manufacturing cost disagreements with JR Central and the space jet's spiraling development cost. The bogies are arranged in a Jacobs bogie configuration. Over the 50-plus year history of Japanese high-speed bullet trains carrying over 10 billion passengers, there has been not a single passenger fatality or injury on board due to train accidents. Starting with the Tokaido Shinkansen, 515.4 kilometers, in 1964, the network has expanded to currently consist of 2,764.6 kilometers of lines with maximum speeds of 240 to 320 kilometers per hour, 283.5 kilometers of mini Shinkansen lines with a maximum speed of 130 kilometers per hour, and 10.3 kilometers of spur lines with Shinkansen services. The network presently links most major cities on the islands of Honshu and Kyushu and Hakodate on the northern island of Hokkaido, with an extension to Sapporo under construction and scheduled to commence in March of 2031. The maximum operating speed is 320 kilometers per hour on a 387.5 kilometer section of the Toku Shinkansen. Arguments against building high-speed trains. The principal argument against building maglev trains in the rest of the world has to do with cost. The fact that conventional train tracks become useless for these super trains and new tracks have to be built makes the investment of magnetic trains extremely high compared to the financial benefit they'll create for the governments or private agencies which are involved in their construction. Now, this isn't the case for Japan, which is in dire need of a new rail system to supplement its already existing bullet trains and accommodate the constantly increasing number of users. Most of the trains in Japan are already filled beyond capacity during peak hours, even though they arrive at each station every 3 minutes on average, and the growth of their principal cities guarantees that the already existing service will not be sufficient. The most practical reason to build new maglev tracks is that the already existing bullet rail systems connecting all Japanese cities are built over territories that are prone to earthquakes. The new maglev train would be built through the mountains found in central Japan, making the structure far safer during an earthquake. Of course, the cost of drilling tunnels all over the Japanese mountains will be enormous, but the real benefits to the Japanese people will be enormous over time. This is not the case in the rest of the world, where already existing rails are underused. For most of the countries of the world, trains are primarily used for cargo purposes, and spending enormous amounts of money on super fast trains is just not economically feasible or politically expendable. In the United States in particular, the Americans' love affair with their gas-guzzling cars really prevents any kind of serious dialogue regarding public transport and its real potential. Oil companies are not interested in allowing their profits to vanish when the age of super trains finally arrives. For that reason, we can look to Japan for the future of mass transportation, because the Japanese, in their mountainous little island paradise, require mass transportation above and beyond the popularity of the single-family car.